Hi everyone, welcome to this week's Stencil Saturday video. This week we are working with my Crossed Hexagons stencil, and I've gone ahead and marked it. And what I kind of decided was that we do kind of a nice easy one. So we're going to do a grid design, and so we're not really going to stitch the hexagons at all. We're going to use it to stitch, you'll notice these diamonds, so they're these smallish diamonds within the hexagons. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to go ahead and stitch all of these diagonal lines just once. So I'll start here, I'll stitch each one of these diagonal lines, and then I'll switch and stitch the opposite direction so that we have this all broken up into diamonds. So I'm going to go ahead and start up here at the top. Actually, let me stitch a line here on the top and the bottom so we can kind of close this area in here. Down to the edge and just do this bottom line just so I don't forget where I'm stopping. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and stitch these. Now what we're actually going to do is we're going to end up stitching each of these diagonal lines in both directions 3 times with 3 rows of stitching. The actual line 1/4 of an inch from the left and 1/4 of an inch from the right. But if I were to stitch all 3 of these lines right now, move to the next one and do the same thing for every line, it's probably going to start to create some shrinkage problems where these marked lines aren't going to look so straight anymore because we're going to get like pooling as we go. So I'm just going to do the one line, single line, kind of, I guess, cross hatching first to just kind of lock it in. So the fabric's kind of locked in place. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch these lines first. Travel up here. Travel. And then we're going to have one more of these. And now I'm going to come down to the bottom here and do these diagonal lines in the opposite direction. So you can see that it's now kind of broken up into these diamonds. I think once you get some stitching in there, it's a little more noticeable sometimes. When you're looking at the marked stencil, it can seem a little confusing. Okay, so now that we have the basic diamonds, I'm going to go ahead now and stitch one line to the left of this and one line to the right of this. And I'm going to do the same for every one of these lines going across. So let me travel over here. And what I'm doing is traveling until my hopping foot is touching that line. Line my ruler up on there. And that's one. And then I'm going to do the same down here. So for this one, I'm going to stop. My foot is touching that line. Stitch down. Whoop. That one was a little off. I'm going to stitch down until I'm touching again. Travel until this one's touching. Oh. Oh gosh, I'm off again. Travel across. Other side of this one. And you could do more than 3 lines if you wanted to. It's entirely up to you. And what's going to happen is it's going to make these little diamonds really stand out. So if you wanted them to be even smaller little diamonds, then you could do more echoes. That line. And down. And I am going to go ahead and tie off so we can get to the other line is all the way on the other side. So let me go ahead and get rid of this other thread up here too. So I'm going to come back over here now and do these diagonals. We're going to do the exact same thing, just stitching on each side of that originally stitched line. So I'm going to go ahead and start here where my hopping foot is up against that line on the left side. And just do the same process and work my way across the quilt. Travel up here till I'm touching. That one's always a little bit tricky because it's an angle. Until I'm touching. And I'm going to go ahead and finish those up for you. Okay, so we're all done. Oh, except I missed one over here. Let's scoot over here and get this line that I missed. Happens almost every time. Now we're done. So let me go ahead and get this. So there we have it. I think this is a really, it's really nice and easy because you already have the lines there. It's a little bit different than just a single line of let's say cross hatching. And you can see, I mean, when you look at these little diamonds we're left with, if you wanted these to end up being smaller, you easily could have done, you know, the main line and then decided to do 2 lines on each side, which would have taken your diamond in a little bit smaller. It just depends on probably the density of the quilt that you're working on. This would even be pretty, I think, in a border. If you had a big wide border, this is a great way to fill it up. So I hope you enjoyed that design and that maybe you'll give it a try. And I'll see you next month. Week. Oops. Bye, guys.